Alright, the stream is back up. What are you playing now? What are you playing now? What are you doing now? Those are the do da 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 da. Alright, my stream's back up if you wanna watch it. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Summer Games Fest. Oh my gosh, it's finally happening! Devil May Cry 6 is Resident Evil 2000 Classic, releasing in 2027. I mean, that's cool and all. I love Resident Evil, but we've gotten like 5 Resident Evil games since Devil May Cry 5 dropped in 2019. Can we get some love for DMC? Two, of course, we have another huge announcement for one of our biggest franchises. Wait, no way, you're actually announcing Devil May Cry 6? Monster Hunter Wilds Ascendance, a major expansion releasing in 2027. Bro, are you serious right now? No one asked for that. And we saved the best for last. One final surprise for all the fans who have been waiting. This is it. This has to be Devil May Cry 6. New characters and outfits coming to Street Fighter 6. Dude, come on! Me and Captain. Get out. I'll wait. I got my eye on you, Jackie Chan. Get out.
Like Anya says, I love Lady Gaga. What the fuck does she know about cameras? Exact same fucking thing.
instructions. It say leave one for 3 to 4 hours. What the hell is going on? I need a package. I ain't never seen no mask do this, and it's all tight and it. Why is this a? What's going on? Mask becomes transparent as collagen is absorbed. Huh? This shit like morph with my skin. Like what the? I never seen no mask. I call myself trying a new face mask. I read the instructions.
That's easy. That was nothing. That's easy. You can't do it. Are you? Guy Shawn's first try. Ken Kai gained back his own. If Ben 10 was done by Mappa. Oh shit.
I got this. I got this.
Bro. What's up? About that time, like attack me.
Oh, I gotta change the control.
Shows up and starts running. Yeah, he's top priority. Well, if I'm Haku, Jack is not getting a break. He's being hunted down every hour on the hour. The fact that Jack would think that he would be able to get seat time no matter where he is. That Beetle drone battle would be his everyday no break. Every portal to the past is being destroyed today. So that Haku can just make up bullshit to attack him at any moment. If I'm Haku, there should never be a reason for me to leave this mountain. But one time to lose that sword, that shit getting thrown into space. I throw his ass so far into the future to where the planet was dying. Have Jack in a destroyed future going crazy. But what do you guys think? Folks, about that time, like attack this. It says, if you are one of these villains and you saw your future, how would you prevent your fate? Of all these guys here, Aku has the most preventable L possible. Aku already defeated his greatest enemy from the jump. Caught the dub for the longest time possible, and my greatest enemy shows up and starts running my fate. Yeah, he's not priority. So if I'm Aku, Jack is not getting a break. He's being hunted.
God damn it! I keep pressing too many buttons.
Yeah, but no, it's good, bro. So yeah, man. It's a large, right? Yeah. You didn't try it on or anything? Yeah, but no, it's good, bro. So yeah, man. Yes, sir. It's a large, right? Yeah. You didn't try it on or anything? Yeah, but no, it's good, bro.
The Adidas suit. Do you like it? We would be killed if we didn't ask you this.
What people call it the Colgate suit. I think what it was, they were trying to match Adidas that they were dropping with the suit. I think a lot of people were mad that it gave the identity of Miles' hair away. I just tell people to put the hoodie on. Just throw the hoodie on, covers the dreads. But, you know, a lot of people, they ask me the same question, like, what do you think? What do you think? Did you make it? And I'm like, Jesus.
The Adidas.
Ooh, he almost got choose your. Check me out. Right, nice try, lady, or whatever you are.
Yeah, I know.
Holy shit!
Never in a lifetime would I believe what I'm about to say right now. This movie could have used more Jared Leto. His depiction of Skeletor are the best parts of this movie. Even his from Eternia. I like what.
This alpha male fitness influencer is already sitting in jail facing multiple felony charges, but now former employees and people who claim they work behind the scenes are making allegations that could raise even more questions about how he built his multi-million-dollar coaching business in the first place. Because it's safe to say things are looking bad for Wes Watson, but now somehow they're looking worse. Because unfortunately, Wes is no stranger to this channel. Over the last few years, we've covered the gym assault case, the civil lawsuits, the bizarre social media meltdowns, and of course the domestic violence allegations that landed right back behind bars. Shut the up. As far as it comes to ruining your own life, this guy is literally a professional. The irony here is the dude's a life coach. Who in their right mind would ever want to take life advice from this guy, let alone pay for it? But unfortunately, a lot of people did. But before we get into this, a quick disclaimer here. A lot of what we're talking about today comes from reporting from YouTuber John Bravo, who we've also talked about here on this channel before. In a positive way, because his stuff is great. But according to him, he's now spoken to a bunch of former employees and people who were a part of Wes Watson's inner circle. Some of these claims have not been independently verified, and as of right now, we're talking about allegations, not criminal charges. But considering that John Bravo has been on top of covering the updates for Wes Watson, I still think it's really relevant to include what information he's found. But regardless, if you watched my previous videos on Wes Watson, you probably noticed the thing that never really made sense. The dude was living like a movie villain. Mansions, Bugattis, high-end Lambos, Rolls Royces, like everything. Security guards following around and posting up randomly in his videos just to make themselves seem apparent. These things aren't cheap. So how in the world was he affording all this? Well, everyone was essentially saying coaching. Because apparently, thousands of people were paying him every single month for fitness advice, mindset coaching, and access to his programs. And don't get me wrong, there are plenty of people who make good money selling courses and coaching. That's nothing new. But Wes's lifestyle always seemed, excessive, a little bit beyond the typical Miami LARPer, especially when you actually watch how he interacted with some of the people paying him. Because according to reportings that have surfaced over the years, some of those coaching calls weren't exactly what you would expect from someone charging these insane prices. Because instead of encouragement or mentorship, a lot of the clips people were sharing showed Wes screaming at clients, insulting them, cutting them off, and genuinely treating paying customers like they personally ruined his day simply by existing. And that's where a lot of these new allegations start. Because according to John Bravo's reporting, several former insiders claim that Wes's business may have been operating very differently behind the scenes. The claims range from questionable billing practices all the way to allegations that, I mean, if they're true, they would be way more serious. And in my first video I ever made on
They
Wes,
say anyone who loves plants can't be all bad.
I did point out the fact that there were allegations that people paid for coaching calls.
Rowan, it shouldn't be
and
too
some
hard.
other dude showed up. Like, what?
They say
Since
anyone
it
who
was
loves it,
fitness
you'll
business,
soon
Wes
realise
offered
how
coaching.
much plants
But
can lift
he either
your
costs
step.
reschedules, puts the calls on his staff. But then you had that whole weirdness at his most recent deposition, you know, the one he had right before he got arrested again. In that case, the lawyers asked what his company is, and Wes says, it's a fitness coaching business, online coaching and training. Then Wes says there's currently no people employed but him. But then he started stumbling and mentioned that he had 2 employees before, but couldn't really remember who they were. He said, I had 2 guys that were employed, Kurt, Gagarin, and Julian, I forgot his name. And I'm quoting this to say consistently through reporting with Wes Watson, there's always been a big question mark next to how his business is ran and who's even working there. But before we get into the allegations themselves, I think it's important to understand the basic question that got people looking into this in the first place. How did this guy actually make so much money? Because we're talking about a guy who built an entire online persona around being richer than everyone else. Every video was about money, every rant was about money, every argument somehow turned into a speech about how much more money he has than them, and therefore they should sit down and just listen to him. Wes Watson, everybody knows who I am. But now he's sitting in a jail cell waiting for trial for multiple felony cases. People are starting to take a little bit better look at where he was actually making his money from. And according to the people speaking with John Bravo, the answer may be a lot more complicated than he sold coaching programs. Because let's start with what the customers are supposedly paying for in the first place. Because some of the coaching calls that have surfaced are definitely interesting, to put it lightly. There's something else. Like, if you've never seen anything from Wes before, in a way you're kind of blessed, but also you might assume that people are just paying for personalized fitness plans or something like that, but instead
No. Some of the reportings that have surfaced paint a very different picture. And I mean, to be fair, some people do like West's approach. This is why these, like, alpha male LARPing boot camps get sold out all the time, where you essentially have some dude screaming at you in the mud, and he's, like, shooting a garden hose in your face, and it's all for, I don't know, to learn mental toughness or something like that. It doesn't make sense. People pay, like, $2,000, $3,000, $4,000, $5,000 to essentially get bullied by men who they think are more successful than them. But Wes's whole brand was essentially built around tough love. He wasn't trying to be your therapist. He wasn't trying to be your friend. He was the guy yelling at people to get off the couch and take responsibility for their lives. And that's, I guess, what attracted a lot of people in the first place to Wes Watson. And yes, obviously there's like 80 billion layers of irony here about Wes Watson being the person yelling at people to take responsibility in their own lives, and meanwhile, Wes is in the current situation that he's in. Well, you could easily argue there's a big difference between being, you know, blunt and direct and just treating customers like garbage. And some of these calls are honestly very hard to listen to.
People come through my funnel and they do this. So you're trying to coach others. Yes, I'm trying to coach others. You should have said that.
何の雇用が切り捨てるの
I guess what I am starting to realize now, what my most recent breakthrough I've had mentally is that I see how it's possible to actually make more than just like a salary job to actually.
He's trying to say he wants to go. It's taking him this long. Say he wants to make money online. You piece of.
Imagine paying a dude like $2,000 and he just verbally insults you. I mean, this is actually this is a heist. Come on, guys. Also, it's like, what are we trying to make an inception of just providing like zero value to society? It's like, hey, I want to be a coach, so I'm going to pay multiple thousands of dollars to another coach to learn how to coach other people and get other people to buy my course. Times. It just seems like everyone wants that short, which is how so many people get sucked into paying for this intro space. And I'm not saying it's like all info is bad. I mean, there are actually like
any unpleasant task.
Out there.
Leave it to me.
Like that high ticket like info space is just so scammy.
My horse has been strangely sluggish these days.
$2,000 for a coaching call like this. It's just there's very few cases where I'll actually help you. But you know, aside from this being kind of funny as an outsider of this call, the thing that did stand out here is the fact that like the guy on the call is just trying to explain what he's struggling with, and instead of helping him, you know, what he's paid to be doing right there, he just screams at him. Dude's essentially being paid thousands of dollars, and he's just sitting there frustrated the guy isn't answering fast enough, which is kind of ironic, because if somebody pays you for coaching, figuring out what they're trying to say literally a part of that job. Like, imagine you're hiring a math tutor, and 5 minutes into the session, they start screaming, "Why don't you already know the answer? Why don't you know what you're solving for him?" Like, my guy, that's why you're getting paid. And according to John's reporting, this wasn't supposedly a one-off incident either. These clips help explain why so many users eventually became money after the service.
Here it comes down, or get the fuck my program. It's not. No, I'm not gonna leave. I'm paying you. Shut up. It's real quick. Shut up. Shut up. Over here, right now. Shut up. Mother. Get your 48. That's like a. I don't know how to figure out macros. Go figure it out. That's up. You think this is wasting our time? I hit you so. Something I didn't say. You need for this reason to help me out. I just help you to have you understand. You know I just smacked this thing first. Shut up.
Just kind of convinced this was our crazy heist. Essentially, he somehow finessed his life where he was getting paid thousands of dollars per hour.
Excellent.
Scream at people and ego trip on call. Again, we live in fascinating times to enable behavior like this. But hey, I guess this is where the story starts moving away from just, you know, complaints about coaching calls into more
the
serious
base
stuff.
that has
According
enough
to Bravo,
spring
the
to
former
hold the
insiders
body
he spoke
with a
with
balanced
weren't
filling.
just talking about rude phone calls. No, they were talking
Finally,
about how the
the
money
height
was
of
actually being
incline should
collected.
suit
He
the
told me
sleeper's body
that
and
the reason
posture.
why his membership numbers are so high
Put it all together,
is because of
and
the
you've
amount
got a
of
bed
people
that'll give you a
that never
splendid
even
night's
notice
sleep.
they're still getting charged. And they didn't even remember to cancel. Because think about it, a lot of dollars in one plan, and they never even noticed it was still in their credit card statements. Think about it. How many times do you look at your credit card statement? Not even looking for them recharged. Some people don't notice this. Now this is the account that Wes Watson used for his company. And all the money from all these signups would come into this account. And from here, he would disperse in crypto, BlackRock, other investments, and of course cash, because we see how he loves to spend all this cash on this shit.
Yes, that's true. Massive. So obviously this is where things go from bad to very bad, because there's a massive difference between running a coaching program that charges crazy prices to running a coaching program that you can't cancel. So even after people are saying, hey, I'm canceling my membership, I don't like this program, I don't like going on to calls and being berated by you, and he's like, yeah, sorry, the person charging you or the company that's charging you, it can't cancel. So you're stuck paying me forever. He didn't say that. He would say the company at the end set up through was amping up. No, he did actually say that. Yeah, no, literally. So essentially it's like, well, my payment processor, they said they can't cancel you. Sorry.
Instead of him canceling their membership, he keeps on renewing it without their permission. They told him to sign. I realized right away that was crazy. And every time it would expire, he would keep renewing the membership, and I would reach out to him, and he would say that the company had the app set up to
There's no end to the journey of learning.
I got for $1,500 total by this guy.
I got effed out of $1,500 total by this guy. You know, a few thousand times 1,500 and more. Because, I mean, the guys who are racking up the coaching calls, that's for like over 1,000 per call, I think, if I remember correctly.
The pursuit of knowledge knows
No
no
end. Happening with a whole bunch of people. And honestly, a lot of people spend a bunch of money on subscriptions they don't even use. But the problem is, when you notice it and you're trying to stop it and cancel it, the charges are actually supposed to stop. So I don't know what's going on here, but according to some former customers, they're saying that didn't always happen. And one former client claimed that he repeatedly tried to cancel and he kept getting renewed anyway. So now, if that was the extent of the allegations, we'd basically be talking about a messy subscription dispute. But apparently, the former insiders went a whole lot further than that. And the next claim is by far the most serious one in the entire video.
They told me he started putting charges on credit cards from clients from the past. He's got a gun in the house, and he's been banging credit cards from old clients. Then I told him he's using their credit cards. Right. Then he says he's been charging old clients' cards. How do you think he's paying for all this? How could these people not notice this, right? But now finding this new piece of information out, it explains it all. When a charge is put in the processor, there's a field called a descriptor, and in that field, you can write whatever you want for the charge. So instead of it saying Wes Watson Fit like it should, he made it say Macy's, Costco, Walmart, whatever the hell he wanted. So these people are sitting there thinking these are real charges on their cards when it's actually Peggy on his computer changing the description so they won't ever know it's coming from him. What kind of...
Which you have 0 times. Fortunately, DoorDash knows all of your neighborhood spots. Save them your day too.
If you're a mom, then you know just how expensive it is to be a household with kids. I mean, I need an entirely different budget category dedicated just to the amount of sometimes cheaper than just keeping up with these crazy advertising. Luckily, you take just 2 minutes to sign up, you can get spotted up to $200 through China without your worry. So now we can try to make some
Yeah, I'm like kind of like stun locked with that information. That is crazy. I mean, I knew Wes Watson was a complete moron, but this takes the cake. I mean, if this is true, I think there's going to be a few more felonies now. Bravo to John Bravo for uncovering this. There's about to be life notes committing credit card fraud on your own customers that you're supposed to be coaching. At this point, it's just a bad decision because if you follow what Wes Watson did in his life, you'll just end up in prison. But multiple sources here said they were actually being charged after they became their memberships have been canceled. But the bigger claim involved in how many of these charges allegedly appeared on consumer statements. So certain charges were allegedly processed using descriptions that obviously didn't match Wes Watson's business. So the fact that he was masking charges as like Macy's or Walmart, that's insane. And obviously you could argue, wouldn't people notice this? Well, a lot of people probably would, but I mean, if you're spending thousands of dollars to get in calls with Wes Watson, you might not be noticing a $200 charge here and there. That's kind of what's crazy. But then, obviously, he was flexing and presenting himself as a person that had a few thousand people paying him every single month. Now, did he have that big of a number because essentially no one could ever cancel it? Was that the case here? Kind of seems like it. I don't know. So, I mean, honestly, after seeing the calls, after seeing all the reviews, it never really added up why those subscription numbers were so high. Because according to these allegations, a large chunk of these people could have been paying even though they stopped participating. And that changes the whole conversation around this guy. Because suddenly, you're not talking about someone who, was making millions through motivation videos. We're talking about someone who essentially, allegedly, was making millions through, credit card fraud? Seems like credit card fraud to me. Again, what do I know though? And also again, these are allegations. Now that I've covered my ass from being sued, let's continue the video. And some of the people that John was talking to believe the timing is a coincidence here, because their theory is Wes actually was arrested. A lot of people normally would have stayed quiet, and something had a whole lot less reason to protect him, because someone, I guess, that they're afraid of their success. Cases, the dynamic kind of changes. It seems. This is your actually, Wes, I'll break you down. They claim that the pressure to maximize revenue now, whether that's true or not, that exists. But now, there is fact, Wes is in a position today. Years, I mean, just for a year ago, was posting videos of luxury acting out. He had his whole life together, and today, he's now sitting in jail, waiting trial. And that's important because he ended up with allegations of reputation, because the entire West Watson brand listen to me, because I know too. Start asking, wait, right now it's exactly at this point, let's ask again, sitting in jail, basically, or decades in prison. But I mean, hey, considering how many times where it's time this year, it's show you exactly. It's description down below if you're here. Hopefully subscribe and see you guys in the next video. Peace.
I'll ensure your death.
Have no credit or bad credit? Atlas says yes.
This self-proclaimed religious leader was just arrested by the FBI after allegedly running a nationwide forced labor operation that profited him over $50 million over the course of a decade. And this is all while his victims were working without pay in call centers across 4 states and lived under what federal agents called slave-like conditions.
2 church leaders with ties to Tampa are facing federal charges tonight. They're in the center of what...
According to the federal indictment, David convinced people to come work for him full-time as unpaid volunteers. He would then tell them that anyone who defied his orders and commands were defying God and would suffer in hell. And to make things even wilder, some of these workers were called armor bearers, who basically were David's personal servants who had to fulfill his demands around the clock. And the armor bearers, they would have some pretty disturbing responsibilities, like transporting women from ministry houses, airports, or any other location to David's, and then ensuring that they took Plan B after they interacted with David. We're just getting into the story, and somehow it sounds like surviving R. Kelly already. These call centers operated every single day, and workers were given some fucking daily, weekly, and monthly, and even yearly monetary goals, like raising $164,000 in a single day. And if they didn't hit those numbers, well, things just got worse for them. The federal investigators said that David and Michelle Brannon controlled particularly every aspect of the workers' lives. The victims slept either at the call center facilities themselves or in what they called ministry houses, and they weren't allowed to leave without permission. Workers were also required to cut off contact with any family or friends who questioned the church's righteousness, and David would demand that any full-time staff give up outside employment entirely and dedicate their lives fully to the ministry. And allegedly, the organization also had a twisted system where they forced workers to apply for government assistance like EBT cards and food stamps by claiming they were homeless. Then the workers had to turn over these benefits to the church staff to buy food for the organization. Dude, that mortgage must have been killer. Sorry, I'm still hung up on the house because bro literally had to have slaves to fund that thing. That's how big it was. And I guess lie that he was raising money to end slavery as he was having slaves fund the thing. I mean, it's crazy. This is wild. It's like he was trying to do the whole, like, P. Diddy thing without a successful music career or owning the Ciroc vodka brand. I guess he just did all of this off of call centers. But when workers failed to meet their quotas or disobeyed orders, they faced a range of punishments that the prosecutors laid out in detail. These included, like, public humiliation, food restrictions, sleep deprivation, physical assaults, and something called rebukings. And I had no idea what a rebuking was, so I found out it was essentially a yelling and humiliation and violence ritual, which does not sound too fun at all. This whole situation sounds pretty awful to me. Very non-swag. And then to make things worse, when workers were living up to David's standards, he would sometimes have water thrown at them to wake them up, or he would cut down their sleeping hours even shorter. Because obviously that is how you get a sales rep to perform better. I love that he's not only a horrible human being, but he's also just a massive idiot. Because, like, the dude would also tell workers that they were serving God through their suffering and that questioning him was like the same as questioning divine authority. Come on, dude. Imagine the burden of living with yourself being that much of a piece of shit. I mean, that's probably why he had to distract himself with all the pleasures. But hey, while his workers were living under these, like, inhumane conditions, David was using millions of dollars in donations, or I guess, see, the donors thought they were actually donating something good. So this money was then used to fund his incredibly lavish lifestyle. As you clearly saw by that house, that's a massive crib. But since 2014, the organization has brought in approximately $50 million to these call centers. And the federal indictment lists some of these, like, crazy purchases that he did, including, Mercedes-Benz, that doesn't specify what, that he paid $63,000 for it. So that could be like an older S-Class or like a C63. He has a Bentley Continental here. He has a Crownline Rose. He also has another Bentley Continental. He has a Bentley Mercedes. He has another Mercedes-Benz and another Mercedes-Benz and another Mercedes-Benz. He has 5 Nintendo jet skis, a jet ski trailer, and 2 more jet skis and a jet ski trailer, and 125 pounds of super muscle Red King Travelers. I love how that's just, like, listed in there. Then he has a Rolls-Royce Continental, and then he has 4 bulletproof automotives here. Okay, why is he buying so many, like, similar cars? Like, you really...
expensive district overall until it's your favorite radio station. Why is he buying so many like similar cars? Like, do you really need 4 Mercedes-Benz? Do you need 2 Bentley Continentals? And why are you buying Bentleys and Rolls? Wait, no, 3. Okay, no, wait. He had 2 Bentley Continentals and a Mulsanne. Why are you buying a Mulsanne, 2 Continentals, and a Rolls Royce? Why don't you switch it up to something like sporty, a little more fun? Like a Continental is kind of sporty. I don't know. Essentially, just bought a bunch of cars that drive like boats. I'm just kind of curious. Nice scam. David also owned multiple luxury properties, including a massive 28,000 mansion in Tampa. Okay, that explains the size of that. That's a behemoth. That's like, that's great. That's pretty much an upgrade from owning Mercedes-Benz and a life car. Still, actually outrageous. Anyway, he's building that mansion for $8 million that has 10 bedrooms and 10 and a half bathrooms. So, I guess he can fit, but also remember that well, neighbors obviously they were wondering how passionate they were.
Making me work for it, eh?
Yeah.
Let's finish it!
You got against David was Randy nominated Dawson Singer.
Damn.
She was actually in a romantic relationship with David for about 6 months, starting in 2017.
Or just on with it then. Get on with it then. I've fought in many wars. Pathetic you are. Pathetic you are. This is tedious. Quick and watch. Consider where you went wrong. Die. Save you from me. Your stance is weak.
they're in their 50s, now there's issued a life sentence. And not only that, but of course, federal prosecutors also said they could be forced to forfeit any funds or property that resulted from their alleged
You want to keep going? Making me work for it, eh? This one's spicy. Then they try it on. I live for this. I'll break you in two.
This is no keep is off limits, as some might be tougher than others. They said it's a that way. Reference,
said, go down. Most of these go down. This is absolutely 100 movie. There it goes. I've been trying to get him to say more than that, but he just won't. I mean, he just really dodged with it. He's being careful. He just says, Alex is really well, and he's takes us. So very descriptive, but speaking out about it, he said, so hopefully, that's going to get a less we're talking about because like condoms. Right now, on the trigger play, it's just minutes away, and I think now this one's going to just wait. Now, it's about an hour, maybe an hour and a half. Right, roasting. Just parked up at McDonald's. So while we are late, have some fun. Let's begin. Lo and behold, that is what chicken nugget has. So I've had one time. We're getting ready for like my show. Way he's trying to fall. So, let's get ready for that show. Okay, 3 minutes. The teacher, 3 minutes. Sorry, pardon me.
He's here.
He's here?
I came here to become someone. He's here.
I genuinely
I'm about to head out, Foster. So I'm about to head out. So I'll talk to you tomorrow, man. Get some rest.